This is Hungry Hungry Hippos. It was originally created in 1967 by noted toy designer Fred Krull and produced by Hasbro in 1978. Now, today I have a really great comparison because I've got an original 1978 edition and the most recent 2024 edition from Hasbro. So, with almost 50 years between the two of them, this will be really exciting to see what's changed and what stayed the same. Why don't we get started with the 1978 edition's game box, which screams 1978 with that font. I love the titling for Hungry Hungry Hippos here. Of course, there's a very clear picture of the game itself, which is a good idea because this is its debut box. So many people looking at this on store shelves for the first time might not be familiar with it enough to know what to expect with anything other than a clear representation. We've also got these really nice cartoon hippos in the corner that are very whimsical and inviting. The back of the box is blank. It's a lift-off top box, and it has plenty of room to store everything safely. Now, it's done a very good job, and over the course of this game's life, it has only managed to lose one marble. So I would say 1 out of 20 ain't so bad. When we look at the game itself, we are looking at a really interesting plastic game board here. Now, this comes right at the height of a lot of games being plastic dependent. In the late 60s through the mid 70s, we saw an explosion of plastic components being included in games such as Crazy Clock, Mousetrap, Buckaroo, Hungry Hungry Hippos, Kerplunk. There were a lot of really fascinating games coming out because the plastics industry was booming. And Hungry Hungry Hippos is a fine example of that time period. The game's rules in the 1978 edition, I did not get a copy with this one. Unfortunately, they were lost to time. But so far as I know, the rules have not changed, and you will notice a little inaccuracy with this set here. I do have 20 marbles on display. In the 1978 edition, it did not come with an odd-colored marble. However, these glass marbles are not the same as other glass marbles. If you get a set of generic marbles, they'll be slightly larger and be a little bit tougher for these hippos to gobble up. It just so happens that I have a copy of Challenge the Chief from Ideal, another plastic game from that era, and it comes with these glass yellow marbles, so I was able to use one lone yellow marble. Now, what's fun about this is in later rule sets for Hungry Hungry Hippos, they did in fact add one odd colored marble. In fact, even in the new version, the regular marbles are red and the fancy one is yellow, just like the Ideal. So you got your regular red right here, and then you got the yellow one, like the Ideal marble I borrowed from Challenge the Chief. So it's kind of funny how similar it just happened to pan out because of where I borrowed the marble from. But anyway, I digress. What's interesting too is in the 70s edition, these marbles are glass. I want to point out in 2024, we change obviously to plastic. So how this game commences is each player has 5 balls lined up in their little reservoir here. There's also an empty reservoir behind the hippo. So what happens is to start the game, each player will eject all of the marbles in their little reservoir here into the center. Once everybody's ejected theirs into the center, the youngest player shouts go, and they all rapidly try to get their hippos to eat as many marbles as they can. So then what happens is the marbles that their hippos gobble up go into these reservoirs here. Once all the marbles have been gobbled up, players count, and whoever has the most wins. So a very simple, fast-paced game. As you can tell, very loud. Even when I'm not really energetically slapping at this, imagine 4 young, excited kids playing this. Plastic clacking. This is a heck of a ruckus. One thing I also like is the detail here of the different hippos' names. Even though the sticker is the same color, we got Homer, we got Happy, we got Harry, and we have Henry Hippo. So I thought that was really funny. They all, of course, have their own unique expressions because they came with eye stickers for the children to apply. So what I thought was funny is some of the eye stickers, because of the directions that the kids put them on when they first got their game, some of the hippos are shifty and looking off to the side. Some of them have googly eyes. Some of them look tired. It's a little detail that I think is fun. I'm sure it was completely unintentional and the kids were just putting them on there, but it's just that little touches like that. Again, this game was loved. It had a life, and so I like to see that when I'm picking up some of these vintage games. Now let's hop over to the 2024 edition. Right away, we see some really great cartoon art on the box. I really love the representations of the hippos. Now, because at this point, Hungry Hungry Hippos is pretty much a board game icon. Everybody knows what to expect. So now we have a much smaller representation of the board itself in the corner of the front of the box art. And you'll also notice this cutout on the hippo's mouth. This is really neat. So as part of the storage solution, the balls, the little marbles that come with this, fit in a little round plastic container that then sits inside a cardboard carriage in this box and uses that plastic container to block this pass-through and display the marbles. I thought that was not only an ingenious way to make the box art more attractive, but it was a great way to store those marbles better than the older edition did. Now, the back of the box has pretty standard fare for a board game. We see some kids enjoying a game, as well as some close-ups of certain features that the game has to offer. Now, one thing that I do like is this lid flips open, so it's all one piece. Now, this is kind of a neat deal, is this is a lower profile box than the older one, because a feature of this game is that the hippo's little paddles there fold in on themselves so that it reduces the profile of the game itself and allows it to be in a smaller box during storage. One thing I'd really like to point out about this packaging was that there was absolutely zero waste for me. I was blown away. I've been reviewing games all year long, and each one of them has had at least a little bit of waste. Hasbro's gone a long way trying to make sure that they reduce waste. Like when I've gotten Scrabble, Monopoly, Candyland, the waste has been extremely minimal. I'm talking like mostly paper waste too from the cards being punched out, but usually just a little bit of cellophane. This game, all I did was cut tape and flip open the top. There's a little cardboard piece, a little insert that protects the hippo's heads when they're in storage. That's loose. Otherwise, everything else is fixed to this box. And one could feasibly discard the little cardboard spacer there. I just like it because it added a little stability. So if you stack this box, not all the weight's coming down on their heads. But I saw nothing in here that was superfluous. Everything had a function and was designed in such a way that, for instance, that little cardboard spacer, I am using it to keep this from shaking around inside and prematurely wearing out the hippo's heads. So this one, I gotta say bravo to Hasbro, because this is by far the best packaging of any board game that I have reviewed in 2025. This is absolutely the gold standard in what you do for a board game. I know many games have different requirements. I said it with Monopoly that I really appreciated their vacuum-formed organizer, and I would say for a game with those accoutrements, that would probably be the gold standard. But this one, far and away, simply because there was zero waste, is absolutely the most impressive thing. It's a feat that must be acknowledged. So when you are purchasing Hungry Hungry Hippos 2024 edition from Hasbro, keep that in mind, as even though you are getting a plastic product, there's no landfill waste going into this. There's no, you're not getting stuff that you're not getting plastic bags and little zip ties and all that junk in the package. You open this up, you pop it right out, it's ready to play, it's fully assembled. There was no assembly required. All I had to do was, it came with the switches folded forward. I just had to pull them out. I had to open the container and put the marbles in their place. Now, an interesting thing is you'll notice that in the 2024 edition, they have combined the marble reservoirs into one per player. So instead of having one where it's the pre-game load, where you jump them into the little pool there where everybody's going to be gobbling them up, and you have the post-game scorekeeping reservoir here, it's all in one. You push this little... Here we go. You just like in the original game, you push this little switch, and I like the pleasant little arc that they have when they go into the game board. As you see, I have the one odd colored marble, so kind of funny that the borrowed marble works. And another thing I want to note is this plastic is very rigid but very flexible as well, so I actually feel less afraid of this being damaged if it were to be dropped or handled roughly. The mechanism is so much quieter. It's just as effective, but so much quieter. And this is a little bit smaller, though I think it's just plain more efficiently designed. When I measured out the width of the pools that the hippos are eating out of, this is 9.5 inches. This is about 8 1/8. The distance between their snouts is 4 inches on the modern edition and 4.5 on 1978. But like these extra corners with the way the reservoirs are built, there's a lot of wasted space with the 1978, whereas the modern edition, it's very efficiently designed. So I gotta say that everything about this impresses me. I like the new coloration. I like that the molding on the side is so whimsical. You have this little like foliage molded on the side here too. It just adds a lot to it. I also don't want to overlook the instructions. They come printed full color on sealed paper here. It's just a single fold over. It's full bleed. Very beautiful photos. And okay, so the names of the hippos are on the stickers on the board in the 70s, and these are all like Homer Hippo and Harry Hippo and Happy Hippo. These, they have the last name Potamus. It's kind of funny. So we have Hungry Potamus, Sweetie Potamus, Bottomless Potamus, my favorite, Berry Potamus, I like Berry Potamus's complexion there. But this is just great. Everything has nice, clear pictures. It shows you how to pack everything up too. No reason why those instructions won't stand the test of time so long as they are not lost, which the way that this package is put together, you put it under the game board, it'll be just fine. I love the translucent pool. Like I said, the colors of the hippos, the molding on the hippos is improved. They are much more plain in the 70s, and there's a whole lot more detail in 2024. So even though you lose a bit of footprint with the game, what you gain in design advancement, I mean, I love, listen to how much quieter that is. And this is further away from the microphone too. I mean, they both function wonderfully, but this is just so much. This is great. This is another wonderful, I gotta say, I'm really impressed. The last year or so, Hasbro has really upped their game on a lot of their main lines, and this is definitely a flagship franchise for them. Hungry Hungry Hippos is an iconic board game, and I'm so pleased to get to say that this 2024 edition is an absolute treat. So I'm really glad that I got this on the show, and I do want to thank channel member here, Chris, for finding this and supplying this to the show here. So thank you, Chris. Everybody thank Chris in the comments for helping. I guess he's the sponsor of this video. So you know what, I'll plug it. I'll throw your Facebook link in there for CL Zen's Woodworking. If you're in southeastern Minnesota and you like artisan woodcraft built with quality and care, check out CL Zen's Woodworking. He knows how to get your wood lathed. So he's gonna love that plug. Thank you very much to Chris, channel member, for supplying this one here. Thank you to my other channel members for helping fund so that I could get this one here. So this was a group effort of the couch potatoes. If it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't have nearly as many awesome games to review. So thank you to my channel members there. I'm just delighted. I love it when I get to give a glowing review and when I see something improve. A lot of these games, you get some of these older games that you look at and you go, maybe it was rose-tinted glasses, and then when you really dig into them, you go, yeah, the new one has a lot to offer, but it's just not that great. Now, this is an instance where actually if I was choosing between the two, there's no reason to go back except for if this is the one that you grew up with and you absolutely love it. But I gotta say, everything that they offer here, the value that you get is just wonderful, and I absolutely love that it stores nicely. It has rubber feet too. I want to point this out. This one does not have rubber feet. It just kind of sits right on the table, and when you're playing, it shifts all over the place. The only reason this one shifts at all is I have this neoprene tablecloth, or I don't know, spandex. What do you call? I have a stretchy tablecloth here. So that's the only reason it shifts. Otherwise, it grips really nice. I like the rubber feet. So just wonderful premium product. So anyway, great review. Had a lot of fun. Thank you very much. Thanks, Couch Potatoes. Thanks, Chris. We'll see you soon for another awesome review.